Hello, my name is Michael Pierre, and I am a part of Team 10 in the software development class for University of Central Florida. Today I will be speaking about our final project, which was a textbook ordering system. I will be discussing with you various information based on what it took for us to complete our project. I will be talking about the various technologies that we used, the development environment, application architecture, the requirements gathering, diagrams such as use case, sequence, and UML, the design pattern that we thought would fit best, the graphical user interface, about the code, and about the testing. The main purpose of building such software was to create an application that instructors and bookstore can use within an institution. So the actual instructor would be able to send requests to the bookstore using a application, and the bookstore would receive that information and they would look into it and approve the order or deny the order. We use various technologies. To code the application, we use Eclipse latest version, which is Kepler. We use CloudForge SVN in order to communicate with the team in terms of committing code towards the project. We used Window Builder Pro in order to design the graphical user interface. We use MySQL database to store the data. And we use JUnit in order to test for unit testing. The type of development environment that we worked in was an agile Scrum environment, and we were using incremental development in order to do the project in terms of building the application. The application architecture was a transaction processing system. The textbook's ordering system is a database-centered application. The textbook ordering system processes the user's request from the input graphical user interface, and the information gets inserted and updated into the database. In order to find out what the institution needs in order for the application they requested, we had to gather some requirements. There was functional requirements that needed to be gathered as well as non-functional requirements. The main question for functional requirements, the main question in general, is what should the system do and who are the users? In this case scenario, the users are the instructors and the bookstore administrators. There is a lot of questions to be asked in order to find out what needs to be done with the system. We use different types of diagrams. We use use case scenarios that went hand in hand pretty much with the requirements that were gathered. For example, a use case scenario, in this use case scenario right here, it shows that the instructor is inserting data into the bookstore system. In this use case scenario, it's showing the instructor is viewing the books that they requested. In this use case scenario, they have an instructor as an actor and a bookstore director, also known as, or an administrator, viewing past book history. In this use case scenario, the bookstore director can approve the book or decline the book based on the books that was ordered. Excuse me. If they approve the book, then the book order will be sent out to the publisher. We created sequence diagrams as well. In this sequence diagram, you see that the instructor is entering the information to request the book. And over here, in this transaction that's going on, the database gets connected and if all requirements that were inputted are correct, then the data will be inserted and the request would be complete. In this sequence diagram right here, it's showing that the instructor is show that they want to know the request status. So they go into the view request and to see if the request of the book was successful. We also created a UML diagram before we even started programming. The thing is, in order to create the UML diagram, and we needed to get all the information that comes from requirements gathering. So once we had all that information and we had the sequence diagrams and the the use case diagrams, then we went along and created a UML diagram. We have 5 in this image right here, which is instructor, book request status, request book, bookstore, and book history. Those will become classes in the near future using the Java programming language. The ideal design pattern that we chose to use was MVC. MVC stands for Model View Controller. In this image right here, it shows a database structure, and over here we have 4 tables. We have instructor, textbook requestion, book request status, and bookstore. All the information that the instructor will input will be inserted to this database structure within these tables. Over here is the graphical user interface. This interface is for the bookstore administrators to access. If they want to view the requests for books that were requested from instructors, then they would click on this button. Over here would show a list of books that were requested by an instructor, and then from there they would actually approve or deny the book. They would select the ID of the book based on the database record that actually creates a unique ID based on auto incrementing for every data that was inserted into the database. Over here, once the instructor clicks view report or view book history, in which is the report of all the books that were ever requested. This interface right here is for the instructor. So when the instructor wants to request a book, they press request book, and the book request form will pop up. They'll put the information in the book. And then they would request the book. Over here, if they don't put all the information, then the information will not be inserted to the database, and that helps protect data that was incomplete that's getting inserted into the database. It has all the requirements based on requirements gathering when communicating with the institution who wanted this application. Over here, once they press view request, they'll show the request status of all the books that are pending request. When they want to see the book history, they click on view book history to see all the books that they requested, whether they were approved or declined. Finally, we're going to perform a JUnit test. We are going to perform a JUnit test on bookstore model. And when we perform the test, we have successful results. And this is a unit test using JUnit. I'm running out of time, and this is the rest of our project. Thank you for watching.